All right, this is take two. The reason why I'm doing a take two is I just started uploading the video I just did, and at the same moment my wife Bobby was reading an article that right now there's a massive blackout in South America affecting Uruguay, Chile, Paraguay, almost the entirety of those three countries, I think, and some parts of others. While that's huge and it's rare for something that big to happen, it can happen. These are not just third world countries. I mean, they have power just like we do. And so things happen. Power outages, floods, fires, things like that happen all the time, and it's important to be prepared. That's kind of what led us to where we're at. We started wanting to be prepared, and then we decided that we wanted to live in a way that our preparations were just what we lived off of, because it made more sense for us. Anyway, this video is on backup power. This is episode 2 of Digging Deeper. So we've got our primary power, and we should be good to go, right? It's powered by the sun. It's free energy. We can use it. We can upscale this to get more power if we want. We just don't need it right now. We should be good, right? That is not correct. If you're living off-grid, you need backup power. If you're living on the grid, you need backup power. You need a backup for your backup. So let's talk about some of those solutions. And remember, what we had for backup power now is what for almost a month was our primary power. So first thing, let me get around the barbecue. Oh, got to show off my bench. I just went back to Idaho and brought some stuff, so I got my workbench back sitting outside. Love it. First thing is a generator. Honestly, the size and type of generator you get is dependent on you and your needs. This one runs just off of gas. We may upgrade it and do one that also runs off of propane later, because we have several things here that run off of propane, so it would make sense for us to have that as kind of a secondary fuel source. But for the time being, this is what we have. It was more affordable, and it works just fine. In the almost month that we didn't have regular power, we used that and didn't even use a tank of gas in it. In fact, there's the gas gauge, so I've still got some from that. Now it's a backup source, so if something goes wrong with the solar system, or we have no sun for several days and our batteries are depleted, I can plug in, run that, and have power. And then we also have a battery charger. Since a battery bank is what's actually charging or running the trailer, we can run power, get things going, and charge the batteries. Our fridge will run about 3 days, maybe 4, just off of the battery bank that we have, as long as we're very minimal on using anything else. So preserving food is going to be a primary thing for us, of course. So we can do that, and we could have weeks without our solar system working and still actually be fine. If your home is not running off of a battery bank like ours, you may not need a battery charger. But they are a good idea to have for your vehicle. Now, if you're living in the city, I lived in walking distance, what would have probably been a 15-minute or so walk to like an AutoZone. So it wouldn't have been a big deal to lug the battery down there if I really had to. Here, our nearest auto parts store is about 30-minute drive out that way somewhere. So that's not a thing. So we need to be able to charge up our own batteries. And we have done that in the other truck. So in any case, a battery charger. While we're talking about secondary power, don't forget that right there is a power source. you can get an inverter and hook it up to the battery there and have full AC power. You can at least plug in your devices and charge, which you probably do anyway. Run your truck or your vehicle for a couple minutes, charge that battery back up, you're good to go. Now we're talking about devices not for Facebook and YouTube, but communication is very important in a disaster scenario, and assuming that the internet's still up, you have access to that news and stuff like that. Our other backup source, one that we have thoroughly enjoyed, is this. We actually have two of these, one for us and one for Tia. This one's hers. Everything out here is dusty, so this thing's really cool. So it charges the batteries in that from that little solar panel. You can also plug it in, charge up your the batteries in this, and just keep it that way. It does have a built-in light, radio. I guess you can do an MP3 player or whatever. It also comes, oh, you got to turn it on. It comes with 4 of these lights, and they actually put off a lot of good light. And these can hang up, you can kind of string them around. We did use those a little bit, but mainly we just use this for charging up devices. And the batteries in this are really cool, because that is the same thing that our flashlights operate on. So we rotate them around. In fact, this one's Tia's, ours is in there hooked up with our flashlight batteries in it right now, charging them. So good way to kind of have one thing that does multiple things for you. As far as charging, I think you can basically charge a phone 1.5 to 2 times off of one charge there. If it's nice and sunny, set your panel out and you can just charge up everything. So next on our list, solar lanterns. These are $12 at Harbor Freight, and Harbor Freight's good for some things and not for everything. A lot of their stuff is kind of garbage and cheap, but these things, it's LED, has 3 settings, so like a low, medium, and high. It'll charge from solar, and also you can crank it. 1 minute of cranking with a nice even steady pace gives you about 20 minutes of light. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot when you're used to having your lights on all day. Again, try living without power for a little bit and see what you really need. What we found is the natural light we were getting was enough. When it got dark, we probably ran those lanterns maybe 20-30 minutes a day, honestly, just to give us some light as we were kind of doing stuff and getting ready for bed. Maybe if you had to jump up in the middle of the night, click it on, but that's not very common. So those are kind of our main backup power sources, and these can be used in the city as well. Your generator, look, there's certain needs that you have. One is food and one is water. So I'm going to show you one with water here in a second, but at the very least, you can get these generators. You can wire them into your house so you can just turn it on and have power throughout your home. That's cool. At the very least, have one in your garage, and you can run a cord from your fridge to that and keep your food cold. Your fridge will stay cold enough for a few hours after the power's out, so you can run it for a couple hours, get it nice and cold again, and shut it off. Do that. You could really go indefinitely as long as you have enough fuel. So here's our other thing for water. A power outage can affect your water. A lot of people don't think about this, but they should. Your water going to your house is powered by an electric pump. Pretty much always. That's where your water pressure comes from. And you get these power outages that happen because somebody hit a power pole or, lightning strike, these things. And they affect usually a few blocks. And it's not a problem. But when you get these big citywide things, They have backup generators that'll run these pumps, but they're limited on fuel, so they don't go indefinitely. The fact is, you could run out of water. Water storage is important. 100% of our water is water stored, but even if you're living in the city, but you need a manual pump. You need a way to get that water out. $23 on Amazon, and we use this thing most days, actually. When we haul water in, we grab a couple of those barrels, throw them in the truck, drive off that way, get water, and drive back. And then we use that pump to get the water from the barrels that are up in the truck down to these barrels. And then we use that to also fill up these, because we kind of use them around the property now. That used to be the only water we had. We've now been upgrading. And even our wash tubs, when we do laundry, anything like that, rather than running the sink to try and get water out, we try to manually pump as much as we can. It's easy to use. You actually pump it just for, less than a minute usually, and it starts siphoning out, and you just kind of watch it go. When the barrel starts getting low, you got to start pumping again. But easy way to have water. But the point is, anything can happen anywhere, and right now, at this moment, in South America, there's like 3 entire countries without water. 4. What's the other one?
Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina.
Oh, Argentina, that's the one I forgot. So, 4 entire countries without power. They're probably going to be without water too. It's going to be a thing. And there are probably people there that are a lot like us that have a generator or some solar backup or something, that they're going to be the ones that are able to carry on with their lives while everyone else is suffering. So the whole point of this is to not suffer, or suffer as little as possible. Anyway, everybody out there, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Be good to each other, and we'll see you next time.